I think this is my favorite Guardians of the Galaxy movie. Hello and welcome back to my channel. So for this video, I'm going to be reviewing the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 movie. This movie, oh my god. I laughed, I cried, I laughed again, and then I cried some more. Oh my god. This movie is, I think, in my top 10 for maybe even for like MCU movies in general, but absolutely top 10 for post Endgame projects. So the way this review is going to work is going to be honestly kind of all over the place. I'm going to try to start with like talking about specific characters, and then I'll kind of move on to specific scenes or the story, and then I'll talk about like the end credit scenes at the end. But starting off, I knew this movie was going to be heavy and there would probably be animal cruelty because I know who the High Evolutionary is, and I know in the comics that's what he does. And I knew that the not the main character, but like the focus, the character that they would focus on and like tell their backstory, I knew it would be Rocket. And they even kind of hinted at that in the trailers. So still not prepared. Baby, I want to start off by saying I don't really remember or know. I'm not really sure who voiced Baby Rocket, but kudos to whoever did, because that actor nailed not only the style and the accent of his voice, but in the first Guardians of the Galaxy, we know that Rocket pluralizes his words, unnecessarily pluralizes his words, even though, you know, it's not grammatically correct. It's adorable, but I love the fact that they took that small detail and like they didn't leave it out. I don't know if he was told to do that or if he just did it on his own, but regardless, fantastic job. One thing that really hurt me emotionally, one of the many things in this movie that really affected me emotionally was Rocket's first word is hurt. Was not expecting that, and because I was not expecting that, whenever he said that, I boohoo cried. Oh my god. Immediately after he said it. Every time I seen Rocket's face, I got emotional. Especially like, well, just the flashbacks, like, and then seeing his friends and the scene with them deciding what their names were going to be. Oh my god. I'm getting chill bumps just talking about it. Like, this movie, James Gunn, I know I've kind of gave him shit in the past, but this movie, if he can, and I wanted to say this, and of course I didn't write it down, but anyways, if James Gunn moves into the DC universe with this quality on this level, I'm very optimistic for what he will do. So I do want to say that. So enough about Rocket for now. We'll get back to that in a minute. Groot's design, especially in the final fight, although it did not look visually the best, it was very effective. I love the fact that they used his design to conceal the guns. And he had so many different forms, and we'll talk about the post-credit scene in a minute. But he had a kaiju one, he had the wings, fantastic. He had like multiple arms in the final fight. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Moving on to Mantis. I loved her story. I love how one thing that really stood out to me with her is it was really sad when she told Drax that he was stupid. I don't know, I can't remember if that's the words that she used, but that's basically what she said to him. And his reaction was very, very sad. Like, he took it to heart because he cares about what she thinks of him. And after she noticed his reaction, she caused him to forget about the whole conversation, which probably not the best thing to do, but honestly, I don't blame her. Sometimes I would love to do that. Like, I'd love to just snap and erase a conversation from ever existing, because, you know, sometimes we all have moments where we wind up putting our foot in our mouth because something we either shouldn't have said or should have said in a different way. But moving on to Drax, I found it hilarious when Drax... Oh, okay, two things that happened on Counter-Earth. The one scene that we've seen in all the trailers, we even seen in the first full trailer, where he spiked the basketball at the little kid. Hilarious, still hilarious. One thing I was not expecting though, that happened on Counter-Earth, was when he clotheslined the motorcyclist. Oh my god. Like, I don't think I was drinking anything at the time, like any soda, but had I been drinking soda, I absolutely would have done a spit take because I was not expecting that, but it was hilarious. Another thing about Drax is that I really forgot that he was a father and that he lost his kids because of Thanos, and I thought that was interesting that that's what he is now. And not gonna lie, while it's on my mind, the kids, they weren't fighting, most of them weren't, I don't think, if I remember correctly, but it did kind of give me PTSD, like a flashback to Thor Love and Thunder when the kids were fighting the power of Thor or whatever. Yeah, still, yeah. Anyways, let's move on from that. Gamora. I loved Gamora in this. Oh my god, she was very angry, and I think they even said that in the movie. Even though this version of Gamora is new, she had a really good arc, and I miss her already. I know it's, don't get me wrong, I'm happy that they didn't go the easy route, but I do still want her and Star-Lord to Peter Quill to get back together. Another thing about Gamora that really warmed my heart was she eventually understood what Groot was saying at the end. Moving on to Nebula. Oh my god. The first thing that I thought about when I was writing notes for her was the scene where she's like, where Rocket is already injured and they're like she plugged into him or something like that. That sounded bad. You know what I mean. And you could see the code flashing on her eyes. Like, she's become more robotic, which is sad considering the trauma that she's been through because of it. Or to get to this point, it's still really cool. Her powers were incredible. All the stuff that she could do. Another thing that I loved about, another thing that really warmed my heart with her is seeing her lift up Star-Lord at the beginning when he was drunk. It's like she's really gotten closer, and she's become more vulnerable. She's not as closed off as she originally was at the beginning of her story. Her stating that Rocket is family to Gamora when Gamora was trying to get them to take her back to the Ravagers ship was very powerful as well. Definitely gave me chill bumps and also made me emotional. Shocker. Oh, another thing that was interesting, going back to her roboticness, whatever, was her arm plugging into the High Evolutionary's ship. That was really cool. Reminded me of Endgame whenever her variant did the same thing but at the Avengers compound. It was so sad but powerful to see her reacting to seeing the torture that Rocket went through, and then saying that it was worse than what she went through because of what Thanos had done to her. Another thing that really moved me during that scene was when they showed the footage of the implants being put into Rocket, was Quill wincing and looking away. And it really added to the heaviness of Rocket's story. Moving on, Kraglin and Cosmo were very interesting. Well, not that much, but I love the relationship between them. And I liked the relationship between them. The fact that he didn't call her a good dog until like the end was adorable. I know some people might take that the wrong way, but you know, she is a dog. She just happens to be able to speak and has telekinesis. But that scene where he did tell her that she was a good dog, and then she, like, you know, pancaked the bad people, was amazing. That was so cool to watch. I love it that Kraglin was finally able to control the whistle arrow effectively. The Ravagers looked amazing. Sylvester Stallone looked incredible as Starhawk. I don't remember the light jetpack thingy or whatever. I don't know if he had that in the previous movies. If he did, I don't remember, which, sorry. Also, I really love, and this isn't the first time we've seen him, but the red worm dude, I think his name is Kruger, but he has the same magical powers as Doctor Strange, so I would love to see more of him. And the whole the emote thing that he uses his powers for, I guess because he can't talk, was really cool as well. But yeah, I want to see him in more MCU projects. The High Evolutionary. I think the High Evolutionary is the baddest, most sinister villain in the MCU currently. He is, Thanos, you know, he did a lot of damage, but he did not torture animals. Like, that is the worst thing anyone can do. Is, yeah, every time he was mean to Rocket, I winced and felt emotional pain. I did, however, find it interesting that he was the one that created the Sovereign. But I will say it does make sense, because they're, you know, all about perfection, and he's all about perfection. So it really just, it really clicks. It makes a total sense that he would spread that onto the race that he created. However, though, it makes me wonder how many other counter Earths or new species that he has created. I know that, you know, he blew up all the counter Earths that he created so far, or for what we've been told. But if the Sovereign are still alive and existing, then who's to say that he hasn't created other species and let them live? So, speaking of the Sovereign, Aisha and Adam Warlock. Okay, this is one of my few nitpicks about this movie, and it really sucks because I was and I still am excited for Adam Warlock and the future of Adam Warlock. However, for future movies, they really do not need to do the camera angles and the way they had him flying in this one. Most of the time I did not like it. It just was very obvious that he was on wires. It looked like special effects from, aside from him glowing and stuff, it looked like the flying effects were like 90s, early 2000s special effects. Like, when I imagine him flying, I imagine him similar to like Captain Marvel or Vision and the way they did her. I know their powers aren't totally the same. I would expect it to be similar, kind of like just more free. Like, he felt very fixed. Like, he's not a robot. He was created kind of artificially, but he's still a living organism, so he shouldn't be that like square. The story, moving on to the story. This is kind of not all over the place, but, well, yeah, kind of all over the place somewhat. Adam Warlock's first attack on the Guardians was visually stunning. There was a scene where he attacked Drax, and the movement right there was not square. It was very fluid and very, very fun to watch. Going back to off topic, but the animal cruelty, I think it was necessary to show it and to show the amount of trauma that Rocket went through. I think it was done very well, and although there were very difficult parts to watch, I don't think it makes the movie not rewatchable. I know some people may not be able to deal with that and may not even want to see this ever again or see it at all. You know, do what you can handle, but I love this movie not because of that, but aside from that, Counter Earth was very interesting. It was nice to see a family and see the Guardians become close to that family. However, it made it that much more painful when the whole planet started to like self-destroy. Jokes. Again, this is like only 2, but out of like plenty, like more than I could even write down clearly. But the scene of Quill pouring his heart out to Gamora and then realizing that the other Guardians could hear them was hilarious. It was sad at the same time, but that scene just continued to get more and more funnier, considering like the whole coloring system and how it wasn't practical, and loved it. Absolutely loved it. I also loved seeing the leader of the Orgo Sentries who kept saying, "Oh, you have an idiot? I have one of those too." Oh my god, I loved that. It was so amazing, so hilarious. And he kept saying it, and it kept being funny. Okay, moving on from jokes, Rocket's escape was, oh my god. I think I was crying through the whole thing, honestly. Especially, oh my god, especially the part where the High Evolutionary shoots the otter. And I can't remember her name. Lila, I think is her name. Oh, it was so sad. So sad. And then he mocked him crying and sobbing, like, oh my god. However, I felt vindicated, and I know Rocket felt vindicated when he scratched the hell out of him. And I found that interesting that is the reason his face looked stretched back onto his skull. I found it interesting that the whole reason the High Evolutionary hated Rocket to begin with was that he was jealous that Rocket was smarter than him. On to a lighter note, I want to talk about the new ship, which I actually have the Lego version there. Actually, I bought all the Lego sets because I love this movie so much. but the new ship is so pretty. But not only is it pretty, it's very functional, and the way it maneuvers and can even dispatch two smaller ships from it was incredible. I also love the new name, Bowie, in honor of David Bowie. Just beautiful, and it was so pretty. It is so pretty. The creatures. So Kerp, I think is his name, or Clerp, was so adorable. Oh my god, so adorable. Kind of reminded me of the creature from Shang-Chi, and I can't remember the name of that. Well, that one didn't have a face, but it just reminded me of it a little bit. The battery-eating creatures, I think they're called obelisks, that are now Mantis new pets. Oh my god, I love those. Or friends. That was so cool. And it seemed that they were another creation of the High Evolutionary, which was very interesting as well. Fun fact that I found out recently was that the talking blob that freaks Mantis out was voiced by James Gunn. I didn't know that until recently, but yeah. Very interesting. The ending. I love the first fight between Quill and the High Evolutionary. It was hilarious when Peter was like, oh, now you have time for me? When Peter got pissed and went straight to the guy with the passkey in his head. Which, by the way, that actor, if you have not seen the show Superstore, you need to see it. I don't think they're making new seasons of it, but that show is incredible. It's hilarious. Watch it. Add it to your watch list. Watch it sometime whenever you can. But yeah, you will not be disappointed. The fight between the High Evolutionary and the whole Guardians team was incredible as well. Visually stunning as well, and it was nice to see Rocket's anti-gravity boots finally pay off. That was so cool when that happened. I think the ending was kind of safe, not killing off any of the characters, but I think it was best considering the trauma we've been through for the past couple of years with the Endgame, No Way Home, then also all the not so great movies in between. And then the pandemic, it's been a lot. So yeah. And then also I think James Gunn did this as like a don't hate me even though I'm moving on, like, hey, yeah. I think he wanted to end on good terms with not only the studio but also the fans. So I don't think he wanted to do anything super drastic that Marvel would have to end up trying to fix or backtrack or change or whatever. It was very sad to see a lot of the characters like go their own separate ways. However, the good thing is that most of the I think there are two actresses that don't want to come back. I know Drax, the actor that plays Drax, does not want to come back, at least for now, so far. And I think the other one is Gamora, played by Zoe Saldana. Aside from those, hopefully we get to see the rest of the characters sooner rather than later, because I would love to not have to wait until Secret Wars or the King Dynasty just to see these characters again. But moving on, I loved that Groot actually said, I love you guys. He actually spoke. Aside from Gamora understanding him when he just said, I am Groot, like prior to that, I also loved the fact that nowhere, the Guardians' home base within the dead Celestial's head, can fly now. I love it that they have like rockets on it. That's incredible. I also loved it that they saved all the animals, and it was so poetic that Rocket ended up using the key card that he used to originally escape from the High Evolutionary to free all of the current animals. And it was very poetic that he ended up reaching into the same cage of raccoons that he came from to rescue them. That was incredible. The first end credit scene, I was so happy to see Groot. I actually was kind of shocked and taken back because, you know, he was hiding or laying down, but he just looked like a rock. He didn't look like himself. But I was so happy to see him as like the Mega Chad King Groot version of himself. Also, I thought it was interesting that Thyla Vale, come to find out, is who that kid is. From what I've read in the comics, she was an artificial copy of Genus Vale, the son of the original Captain Marvel, and their mother is an Eternal like Thanos. The second end credit scene, I love seeing Quill finally find some of his surviving family, his grandfather, and bonding with him. I would love to see just a show of the two of them together, just catching up. Like, Not gonna lie, I'll probably cry the whole damn time, but I would love to see it. Super excited that the legend, speaking of, super excited that the legendary Star-Lord will return. I think that was so poetic that they did that, because in the beginning, in the first Guardians movie, he called himself the legendary Star-Lord, and they were like, who? Love that gif, by the way. But yeah, this movie was incredible. As you can see, I only had like one nitpick, and it was about Adam Warlock, which they can easily fix by the next time that we see him. So, in conclusion, this movie, honestly, even though I was not a fan of Adam Warlock's visual effects, I'm still gonna give this movie a 10 out of 10. I don't think it's better than WandaVision. I don't know if it's second place as far as like all MCU projects, but it's up there. It's top 10 easily. One thing that I forgot to say, but I'm gonna say it real quick, is that I think this is my favorite Guardians of the Galaxy movie. Don't get me wrong, I know the first one is classic, you know, it sets everything up, it starts the whole Guardians story, but I feel like this one is the best conclusion to this story. Yeah, I think it's still my favorite. I don't know. Or maybe it's a tie between the first one. I'm still undecided. I'm still processing it. But yeah, I really do love this movie. So let me know what you thought about this movie. Have you seen it? If you have not, why are you watching this video, first of all? But yeah, what do you think of this movie? When do you think we'll see the Guardians characters again? How soon do you think it will happen? And just let me know your thoughts of this movie. But yeah. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already done so, please like, comment, and subscribe. And also hit that notification bell to receive notifications whenever I post new videos. Again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.